Terrific, and it looks as if we're live. I have with me in the studio the wonderful Ben Brown, all the way from Ohio, Rexford Dodo in the leafy wilds of England somewhere, and the amazing media maven Francesca Kakra Forson, all the way from Accra. We're going to talk about fixing Ghana tonight. Now, here's some background. A quick look at Ghana's population statistics will tell you where her stress points are going to be. She's a young country. 0 to 14s form 37%, and the 15 to 24s form 18.6% of the population. Together, they are more than half of the nation at 56%. By comparison, say, to the UK, 0 to 24s form half of that figure, representing only 26.8% of the population, roughly half the figure of Ghana. A government that does not cater to the educational, housing, health, transportation, and employment requirements of young and newly qualified workers is a government headed for a world of pain and resentment in Ghana, and the Ghanaian people have not disappointed. Calls for public demonstrations over perceived government failures in affordable accommodation, affordable and reliable power supply, education that leads to jobs, environmental pollution of waterways, which are now causing malformed babies, were foiled by a police injunction to stop protest till COVID-19 restrictions were lifted. The nation, led by the youth, mounted a social media campaign under the hashtag #FixMotherGhana. The mother was added as it was launched on Mother's Day. Over 700,000 tweets were pushed out under the hashtag, and there is no way to put a positive spin on that story. It's a body blow, not only to the reputation and competency of the government, but a call to action for Ghanaians to review the performance of the political classes. As always, the question remains, who takes responsibility for the many failures in supplying public needs, the people or those in power? The government can boast that Ghana is one of the top 10 growth economies in the world, coming in with 7.1% growth before the pandemic hit. But those impressive figures have simply not trickled down to the man, woman, or young person on the street. Wealth is held in relatively few hands. The wealthiest 10% of Ghanaians now share 32% of Ghana's total consumption, more than is consumed by the bottom 60% of the population combined, while the very poorest 10% of the population consumes only 2%. And of course, gender inequality remains a pervasive issue. I'm joined tonight by agricultural economist and music industry senior Ben Bracken, media maven Francesca Forson, she's a TV news editor, and Rexford Dodo, accountant, lawyer, and social commentator. My dear friends, thank you very much for joining us tonight, and let's see if we can get to the bottom of this matter. So, kicking it off right from the top, Ben Bracken, what do you make of what's going on in Ghana right now, very briefly?
Well, I think that this is just a combination of things that have been going on since post Nkrumah, and Ghanaians have never had a proper voice because this whole parliament thing, they have no recourse to make their views known. They understand.
Are you talking about the population?
Throughout the population, yes. Even in Accra, as for the rural areas, it's totally cut off. I mean, they know how to relate with their traditional power system, okay? Because our traditional system is from base to up.
Right.
Okay. Right. The people at the top are empowered by the people below.
Right.
So it's like families, Ebusia Penyin, Odikro, sub-chief, and then the chief. And each one is empowered by the people below.
Okay.
So there's a democratic system that is happening, dynamic system where they know where to go and complain about anything.
Okay.
But
so as far as you're concerned, we'll come back to this, Ben. As far as you're concerned, the political system just isn't working. Francesca, you're a news editor. You are following the headlines, the hashtags, the tweets, the social media, etc., etc. What do you make of the significance of this Fix the Country Ghana campaign?
This Fix the Country Ghana campaign is significant because it's been largely led by young people who are sort of breaking the culture where you do not challenge your authority, which would be typical Ghanaian culture.
Can you speak up a little bit, please, Francesca? A bit more volume, please. Yeah.
So I'm saying that this is significant because of the faces that we see leading this campaign. Young Ghanaians leading a campaign, challenging authority. It's not of the problem. I think the difficulties or the hardship in the country had been simmering for a long time now. It's the introduction of new taxes, plus the hike in petrol prices, which will have a ripple effect on general goods
all the way down
prices, which has triggered all of this. And so
terrific. So for the first time we got So for the first time we got young people leading the charge. Rexford, what do you think is the significance of this Fix the Country campaign? Very briefly.
Right. I good evening all. I actually think that after the 1966 coup in Ghana, we haven't had the right leadership to carry on with the 7-year development plans that were instituted during the Nkrumah regime. Now, after Nkrumah was president, because he had a vision. If you go and look at his development plans, you can see that everything was tied into industry, jobs, housing, and after the coup, all this was abandoned.
Terrific.
Now, I don't think that the people that took over after him had any vision. They just came in to be heads of state, ride around in plush cars, make journeys. They didn't care about the people. Now we have come to a point now where just after the last election, or just before the previous government was replaced, we had this new government, which was in opposition then, coming in and promising heaven. Right now, 5 years into their rule, a lot of these promises haven't been fulfilled. Their main promise was this free SHS. Now that they got their second term,
we can't go into all the policies now. We'll come back to this stuff later, Rexford. But basically, what you're saying,
that's the thing. There's been a lot of disappointment with this part.
Okay.
With this
terrific. Okay, now I'm going to drill down into the physicality of the situation and look at some individual pinch points. We'll come to political systems and so on later. Employment is the first one. Young people coming out of college, coming out of training colleges, coming out with degree qualifications, they can't find jobs. You can't find a job. You can't find accommodation. Ben, what's your take on that?
The system is ridiculous. It's wrong. The government spends so much of its budget paying salaries and wages for people who don't actually produce, who don't work. Okay, so where's the productivity? There is no plan. Like Rexford said, nobody has had a vision, since Nkrumah. And for me, even Nkrumah missed part of the boat because he should have reverted to our traditional system that our people understand and can work with and they are passionate about. Okay? Now, but he had a plan, he had a vision, and he was trying to do something which could have worked, because he was very passionate also about culture. Okay? But we need to bring our culture back into our lives.
For you,
we're running a system as if we're running it for the British.
Got it.
This is the system that they left behind.
For you, Ben, it always comes back down to the culture and the fact that we're using the wrong tools to digest this meal. We're eating with the wrong utensils and so on. I got that. Now, Francesca, look, the economics of this thing are compelling. There is no way you can run away from the fact that these guys, Africa's a young continent, period. Ghana is a classical example. 56% of our people are under 24 years old. Okay, so where are we going to find these jobs to keep these kids employed? Can't hear you. Can you speak up, please? Hello? No, I'm not hearing you. Your sound is gone. Can you speak up again? Okay, I'm going to go to while we play with that. Let me go to Rexford. Rexford, what's your take on the economics of this thing? Jobs, employment for the young people.
You know, the first thing you if you land in Ghana, first thing you see in Accra is children. They should be at school. First thing you see in Ghana, there's filth everywhere. Who's responsible for cleaning the filth? You know, the jobs are there to be created, but the people who are in power don't seem to have an idea how to go about it. Right. You know, there's even when you go past the president's Jubilee House and you see the grass there, it's very unkempt. You know, and he drives in there and out all the time and he doesn't see it. You know, the jobs are there, okay? Maybe that's the low-level jobs. The middle-level jobs, we have to start putting these kids into professional mindset. You know, because going to university and just getting a degree in history or philosophy or something is not productive. You know, we have to get them to get into the vocational sector, how to be a plumber, how to be a carpenter, how to be a mechanic. You know, these are the places where the jobs can be created. And, you know, as in Poland, they have these technical people, but at a degree level. So, you know, you start from a certain level, and then you as you sort of qualify, your qualification is sort of aligned to a university education qualification. So when you come out, you don't feel out of place. You're not looked down upon. And you know, I've seen a lot of Polish people here. They're fantastic workers, and we can do the same in Ghana.
No question. I mean, they're beating native-born British workers all the time.
Most of it is on
in everything.
Yeah.
Well, we all experience that. Francesca, can I hear you again? Do we have sound from you? Can you speak up? Okay, Francesca, can I suggest that you log out and log back into the studio because something's happened to your sound. That's a real pity. So Ben, as you know, Rexford's talking about the right kind of qualifications and so on. Ben, this may be the opportunity for us to discuss your big bugbear about the fact that if the people are working with the wrong system, there is no way things can work out right because there's no belonging. Have at it. Please explain. What do you mean by that, Ben?
Well, let's face it. I mean, the system we're operating is just a hangover from the colonial system. And the colonial system was created to exploit what they saw as virgin and resourceful territory. And all they did was set things up so that they could benefit from the resources. Even the educational system is not designed for us to be able to think and solve our community problems. That our education does not relate us to our communities. We don't know the problems they have. We don't even relate to them. You know, we have a traditional culture of enterprise. Where is it? It's all lost because now all power is concentrated in the hands of government. And this government is an alien entity in Ghanaian traditional culture.
What do you mean by what do you mean by alien entity?
What I mean by alien entity is that they call it Aban.
Okay.
And Aban means prison, garrison, wall. Okay? That's all it means. It means that some people have come to usurp our traditional system of governance, which is still existent in the rural areas today. The government is not there because there are no resources there to go and pick up. There's no gold or other things. But they run a system that they understand, that they are passionate about, and they call it Oman. Okay? So, I mean, everything is wrong. And we took over, we should have reverted, we should reset and know how to carry our whole people along with us, because we are working with our heritage and our culture and our tradition. We are here pretending to be Europeans. All our leadership is either, it has to be English speaking. They dress like foreigners. They live a foreign lifestyle. They don't even understand the issues.
Okay, can I just hold back on that, Ben? I mean, these are points that I would like to raise with Francesca. Can we hear you speak again now, please?
Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Superb. We got a voice from you.
Okay.
Look, basically, what Ben has been saying is that we have a system of governance which is alien and remote from our people. Our people cannot connect with it. We have a system which apes a system that was left by a colonial master. Okay, you're dressed Western style. Rexford is dressed Western style. Of course, he's sitting here in England. I'm not, but though I am in London. So, is what Ben is saying finding any resonance with the two of you, that our systems are not fit for the mindset, the condition, and the way of being of the natives of the land who we need to engage with? Francesca.
Yes, as a young person, I don't disagree with Uncle Ben. I think largely there's a clash of...
Oh, I would rather you agree with me, not just don't disagree.
I agree.
Let her have her say.
I agree with Uncle Ben. Yes, there's a clash of two cultures.
Right.
But for many young people, they won't want to get into the debates about the colonial era and what was not done right. They are interested in...
Why not?
They're interested in the present. They're interested in the fact that they can't get jobs. They're interested in the fact that they can't get their rent. So diagnosing that problem is not enough for them. They want to know, how can that diagnosis be transformed into something that will impact their lives now?
Okay, a question I have to ask you, Francesca. What if the diagnosis, let's say, for example, you rock up to a doctor and he says he diagnoses you with a problem. They first take a medical history. And if you don't understand the causation of your illness, it doesn't matter what kind of treatment they give you, you will continue lurching back into that condition. Don't you think that there is a causal link between what happened in the past and what is happening now, and that the people in the country must be able in their minds to make that causal link?
I agree that that causal link is there. But and it's not as if it's lost to them. They do know that it's important to know what happened in the... You hear a lot of young people, and this week and last week I've had a couple of them in my studio. What they keep saying is, yes, we know the problem, we hear the problem severally. What we don't hear is how that can change the situation we are in. And so for them, it's not really about diagnosis also, but the prognosis. Okay,
good. Rexford, what is the solution? The kids don't want to, young people don't want to know about Kwame Nkrumah and all of that stuff. They want to know what the solution is now. What's the solution?
Right. The solution for me is to really engage the youth into the villages, see how the village people are deprived of basic necessities. They don't have running water, they don't have toilet facilities, they don't have maybe I wouldn't call them banks, but sort of financial institutions there that can sort of help them with enterprise. And therefore, if we keep going back to the colonial period, I agree it wasn't perfect, But if we decide to take democracy, then we have to use our chiefs as ceremonial heads, and get the people that we have elected to move the country forward. It can be done. It's not impossible. I mean, other countries have been able to. India, Malaysia, Singapore, they all were in the same position as we were when we got independence, but they managed to move their country forward. What is it they're doing right that we can't do in Africa, and especially Ghana? We started very well. When we started in 1957, we were ahead of all these people. We were performing wonderfully until they crashed the cocoa prices, and then put Ghana in turmoil, and then found an excuse to get the military to overthrow us. That period is gone. Now these people who have come in, they must have redirect their minds to make sure that the basics, as basic things in life, is available for everybody: housing, education, job opportunities, and what have you. At the moment in Ghana, people are just walking to you. Graduates don't have jobs. People have finished education.
Look,
they can't get into education. Jobs.
Terrific. I mean, the list of woes could go on forever. There are two particularly damaging issues: the matter of galamsey and how this is polluting our waterways, the matter of how our natural resources, for example, rosewood, which Ghana has got the finest rosewood in the world, is being totally diminished, smashed, and depleted. And the impact of our poisoned waterways is causing now malformed babies to be born. At the Awin district in the Western region, at the Sewum Health Center, I have read of children being born malformed. These are terrible issues. Now, bearing in mind that Francisca has to go to her news meeting, her news program this evening, I'm going to drop this one on you, Francisca. Whose responsibility is this to fix? Is there something about the mentality of our people as a population? Or is this something which is foursquare in the hands of the elected president of the country to fix?
I'll answer it in two parts.
Please
so
do.
First, I think, given this social contract that we are all trying to make work here in Ghana, the elected individuals, the responsibility of fixing it. And so they must fix it. They must get us the job. They must give us electricity. They must give us water. But in the long term, and every individual comprises a society out of which these leaders are going to emerge from. So yes, there is the need to consider the mindset, as you say. There may be a mindset problem that needs to be fixed, because it is out of this society which may have this mindset that our leaders emerge out of. So if we want the kind of leaders, then we must also reflect a certain kind of society or citizenry. Because the criticism that the citizens get is that we are all just like these politicians. We pay our little bribes to the police when we are driving on the road and we encounter problems here and there. How then do we expect them to behave differently? But then...
Oh, she's frozen.
She's frozen again.
Yeah, I think that, Francesca, you're going to have to log out and come back in if you have time. She's back. Go ahead. Go ahead. Can you speak up again, please? No, I'm afraid we've lost you. Francesca, can you log out and log back in if you can? She's gone. Good. Look, Ben, it's very clear what Francesca was going on to say. Is there a problem with the bedrock from which our political classes are recruited from? By and large, our political classes went to the elite educational institutions in the country. They were further educated in elite international institutions. Many have 2 degrees, some have PhDs. So it's not unusual for some of our politicians to have gone to English public schools to have furthered their education at places like Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Edinburgh, INSEAD, and other top institutions around the world. And yet they come back to Ghana. They're not doing much, are they? What is the problem with the educated elites in Ghana?
The problem with the educated elite is that they do not represent the people. The problem with the political system is that it doesn't, like I said before, the people have no voice in the political system. All they do is maybe vote once every 4 years, but they have no recourse for anything else. Okay, and then the political system, we have more or less a two-party state. And you know what? There's no philosophical or ideological difference between these two parties. It's just a one-changing thing. I don't know why people, sit back and then want to support this nonsense, that is democratic. What is democratic about it?
Thank you very much.
Are people able to express and have a say in their own governance? How can the government focus on the issues of the people? We're talking about rural development. There's no emphasis on rural development. All they want to do is to create a system where our people become labor in production for outside people to make the money. It's the same thing everywhere. Our leadership, the system says that the leadership cannot relate to the people. Look at housing. How are you going to solve housing? You have to develop from the rural areas. The cities are just there to administer the production from rural areas. But all the emphasis is on cities.
Okay, Ben, thank you very much. Let me go to Rexford. Rexford, what's your solution? I can't see your face. I know it's a weighty issue that you're considering. Thank you. But what are you going to do about the political classes? That would be people like you, myself, Ben, and Francisca, who were sitting in the studio. These are people who've had the benefit of reasonable educations, both in Ghana and often abroad as well. Why can't they fix the situation?
That's $1 million question. I just don't know. I just think that sometimes when they get into power, they forget where they came from. I mean, if you some of these ministers and MPs go and see the villages they come from, the place is desolate. The way the people living in the villages live is unbelievable. Now, if we have to have a philosophy. We have to develop, like Ben was saying, we have to have a philosophy that we stick to, and we make sure that we execute it, and we create solutions along the way for the problems that our people are experiencing in the country. I mean, a typical example is something I saw on TV on the YouTube the other day about 3,500 units supposed to be built somewhere in something called Saglimi or something, and
right.
only 1,500 houses have been completed. They look okay from the outside. I don't know what the inside looks like, but even if there's been corruption in the execution of that contract, at least the contract shouldn't be abandoned, because these houses could be put to use to ministry officials or clerks in the banks or something like that, and they could be earning money from rents. You know what I mean? But
right.
This government has made up its mind that anything that the previous government had done, it's abandoned. Hospitals, school buildings, accommodation, housing units. What sort of mindset does a leader have to cause such financial loss to its own people?
Okay, let me say this, is that I think that the Ghanaian population is united in thinking that you can't put a cigarette paper between one party and the other. We have a mostly two-party state. Okay, the problem is not with this party or that party, because they both have the same deficits. They just manifest in different ways. The problem is the mindset of the leadership across the entire political class. And that is the question I'm putting to you,
Right. I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming any particular party. There should be continuity. Whoever is in power, whatever projects they start, has to be completed by the party that takes over. I agree with you. I'm not actually blaming it, but I'm giving you an example of the kind of leadership we have now. That anything that has been built by the previous government has been abandoned. I have never seen that in Ghana's history ever. I haven't. Rawlings came, whatever he was doing, whoever took over from him carried on. Kufuor came, whatever he was doing, whoever took over was carried on. For a particular reason, this particular government is not doing that.
Okay, fine.
What's the reason for it?
I'm going to go on to the next thing, which really was triggered by a YouTube, a Facebook rant by a woman called Amma Manson. It was the most eloquent speech that I heard. I think it should be played over to every sixth form civic class in the country for discussion. She went on for about 20 minutes, and it was a perfect exposition of what's wrong with the country. She said, she made 4 points. She said that actually every Chinese exploiter in Ghana, and there are many, doesn't know where to go unless they're told where to go by natives. So somebody is opening the door to these people. Secondly, she said that that there is a mentality of the fast buck, which means that people can't take responsibility for adhering to any plan. Rexford, you were talking about 7-year plans. To maintain a plan for a period of time requires a sense of deferred gratification. Now, this, Amma Manson was saying in her post, is something which is signally void in the political classes of the country. How are we going to fix something like that? Because you can't fix Ghana without people getting the idea that you give up something now to gain something tomorrow. But we have this, again, what she called the showman mentality, where popularity is a question of how much money you have, how much vulgarity you can display, and this is hugely respected in our society. So as long as these values persist, how do we expect the country to move forward? Ben?
Look, I don't agree with the analysis completely. Okay?
Good.
Our people are not greedy. They are not stupid. In fact, we get it wrong when we believe that we, the educated class, are the people who have the knowledge. We are very ignorant. It is rather the native, the ordinary people who have the knowledge. And this knowledge has been accumulated over thousands and thousands of years. They know how to live with nature. They know everything, but they've been disenfranchised. The government we run, I'm telling you that these governments, people vote money to buy political power and then come and steal the money. That is the whole focus of governance in Ghana today. The government has no relationship with the people directly. Every country that has progressed, it's because you watch China, you watch Japan, watch Israel, even watch Rwanda. You see that when they work with their traditional system, everybody understands and everybody backs up. If you were to go to the rural area today, and this is what we have to begin to do, and we can work through the chieftaincy because they are passionate. It's their people. Okay, work with them. You can start building up. You can build a health post in every village in Ghana in 3 months if you design it properly from local materials. How come our educated people cannot get this simple idea into their heads that they have to build another Europe or Dubai? Who do they think we are? We're just there to supply labor and be in poverty. They don't even know how to create jobs. And there's a lot of things to be done. And the whole focus of the political parties is to come and make money. Look at the politicians. Anybody, look, they come and they share where there's so much corruption because they have to reward their cadres and their supporters. And when they give them a position, they have to use it to make their money back and 100 times over. Okay, so every contract actually almost is only about 10% that goes into the actual work. Okay, so it's a loot and share thing. It has nothing to do with any passion for the country. There's no responsibility from governance to the people because it's from top down. They're supposed to be our servants, but they are our masters. Okay, Parliament sits there. Parliament has no way of knowing what's on the ground. If you go through the traditional system in Ashanti region, they have the Santihene has Akwesidai, and you know the system is so wonderful, so beautiful. And when they have Akwesidai, everybody from every part of the Ashanti nation comes to Menchia Palace and reports through the system. They can know exactly what's going on everywhere. They can know every Chinese, every Nigerian, every Nicaraguan that's in the country or in the area and know what they're doing. The government has no such resource because the government system is alien. It is not of our people. What the hell are we doing? I mean, we sit down and say we're independent, you know, and we can't even speak our own language. You know, we're taught in school. Even the schooling system is wrong, like I said before, because we're not trained to deal with our own issues in our communities. Our people can go abroad and, you know, do fantastic jobs, but when they come home, our engineers, they sit in the offices. Look, we have engineers, you know, being acclaimed by the whole world, but their grandmothers are cracking rocks with rocks. You understand? We have homelessness, you know, perennial homelessness in Ghana. You know, from the rural areas, there's no jobs. People migrate to the cities. What are they coming to do in the cities? They're looking for life. Okay? We don't have a sustainable agricultural system. We don't have anything. Because we don't even know what we're doing.
Okay, fine.
We are a parody. I mean, the political system is...
Hold it, Ben. Hold it. Rexford, you can't deny anything of what Ben Browker is saying. And if there is going to be a solution, we are going to need a system that not only sees what our real problems are, but also comes up with workable solutions. Now, our current president went to Lancing College and Oxford University. Okay? You're not going to get a better education anywhere. But is it appropriate for the circumstances that we face in Ghana? Indeed, is our entire political class adequately equipped to deal with the problems? I mean, Ben didn't make those problems up. They're real. Where is the solutions coming from?
Well, I'll tell you something. I lived in Ghana as well before I came to the UK. And
Right.
growing up as a kid, our parents were very careful about expenditure. You know, they had integrity.
Right.
We have a lot of Ghanaians now at the moment, despite all the academic qualifications they got from whichever country they've been to, you know, whether Cambridge, whether Harvard, whether Oxford, when they get into the country, they lose their integrity. Now, the loss of integrity in our country has made us incapable of.
What is causing the loss of integrity?
No, Ben, could you hold? Please hold. Go ahead.
Well, I don't. I mean, maybe it's
It's a curse.
maybe it's a home issue.
Hold it, Ben. Please go ahead, Rexford.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And that integrity is at the bottom of all the problems we have in our country. You get somebody appointed as a managing director of I mean, my father set up the Cocoa Marketing Board. Yeah,
Right.
it was already there.
Right.
It was inaugurated in 1948 by the government. Nkrumah put him there in 1951 as an accountant. Yeah,
Right.
he built the cocoa house there.
Mhm.
Now, when Rollins came in 1970, the cocoa industry was, he went back, took him out of retirement, and he came back and fixed the cocoa industry. Now I hear that the last, one of the chief executives was there paying himself $30,000 a month. The cocoa industry has gone down, you know. So these sort of people, they, like Ben was saying, they just come in, they want to make themselves rich overnight. They don't care about the country, they don't care about the cocoa farmers. And this is the thing we have all over the institutions in the country, even the judges are it, you know.
Thank you very much. So we've rocked up now on the matter of integrity. Ben, answer your question. Why is there a loss of integrity?
There is no loss of integrity amongst the people. They know themselves. You know, you see, like this redwood business where one of the chiefs went and sold a huge land that for the Chinese to come and take the redwood. You know, that Santahene, the punishment that Santahene gave him was that he has to plant 100 trees for each one that is lost. Okay, our court system can never bring such a judgment. First of all, they are too corrupt. And then they don't relate to the community. They don't relate to the culture. They don't understand. Okay? You know, I mean, these people came and set up this system here, and we're still following it like blind people. I mean, our elite are so dumb and so stupid. They can't think. They can remember data. They can remember things, chew poor parts. That's all they're good for. I'm telling you, they can't relate to the issues, proper issues there. They want to live the lifestyle of foreigners, you know, and that's all that matters to them, to show off, to say that they are equal to the Europeans. But today, you know, our people have all the wisdom, but you have to work with them. You have to be with them for you to understand what they know and what they can do. But they've been disenfranchised.
I think in a way you are agreeing with me, because these guys have got all the education, they haven't got integrity. Once you haven't got integrity, your education is useless. You know what I mean? Because you could be the brightest engineer, but if they give you a job and you think, oh, out of this job, maybe if I take 60% of it and use 40% to do the job, and you know the 40% won't complete the job, but you take 60%, is that, you know, you basically are, oh, I've been cut off. No, you're still here. I'm on. Okay. Yeah, no, you're still here. You froze a little bit though. Yeah. Carry on. Yeah. So that, you know, you say the integrity is with the people, but the people who elect the leaders to lead us don't look at the people they elect with integrity, because
Rexford. Forget about this kind of election, because you know the people who go and stand for election, they don't even come from the area. They don't know the area. They have money. That's all that gets people elected. They don't even come from the area. They don't know the communities. You understand? It has to be a system where the people who stand for elections are actually from the community, and they have to rise from the community to become MP.
Okay.
Because they know the issue.
No, I agree with you. When
you talk about election, it's a shame.
Hold it. I agree with you. The point I'm making is that even if the people that know the community are elected from the community, when they get to where they should be making the decisions that matter to the people they are supposed to be representing, they don't do it. You know, not all of the people that are elected come from different constituencies. Some constituencies, I've been to something, Akokeri. You know Akokeri near Obuasi?
Yeah, I know Akokeri.
If PBO Ben was the son of Akokeri, if you go to Akokeri, there's nothing there. How long was PBO Ben in power for with different governments? You know, so it doesn't always produce the result you are saying. The point I'm saying is that. All right, sorry. Go on.
Okay, no, that's fine. This conversation is headed in a particular direction. Rexford, I'm going to have to ask you to leave and come back in because you're completely frozen on the screen. And so if you could just duck out and duck back
I'm frozen, in. Yeah.
Yes, you are frozen, although we do have audio. I'm going to just mute you out there now, and I'm going to stay with Ben. Ben, look, I started off thinking we were going to have a bit of a conversation about specific government policies, structures for delivering these policies, and so on. But it seems inexorably that the conversation has wended down the path of the mentality and the mindset of the authorities that deliver these policies. And also, you have always absolved the ordinary people to the extent that they don't have the power to influence very much. But our leaders are drawn from the people. But it seems to me that the fundamental blocker to fixing Ghana is the mentality, a mentality that looks outside of the country, a mentality that is located in an identity which is alien to the country, and therefore a mentality which seems incapable of delivering that which fits or suits the country. What do you think of that? Is that about fair?
I don't think that. I think there's a major disconnect in Ghana, and that is crucial. The major disconnect. Look, the educational system has warped people's minds. They cannot relate to their own communities, their own people. They feel they are better because that was the plan of the colonialists, and we're still following it today. You go to school from a community, by the time you come back, you cannot relate to your community. You understand? So, I mean, we're talking about so many issues. We can't talk about an amorphous entity as the Ghanaians. We have those who think they know and who are in control, okay? And they're imposing unfamiliar systems. That's why a lot of times,
where's that change going to come from? If, for example, you're saying that these systems are not fit for use because they are alien, essentially, to the problems and the people who are going to put them into practice, how are you going to change those systems practically? Because until you change those systems by your theory, you can't.
Yeah, the paradigm is that you have to live with the people, know them, discuss with them honestly, because they know the solutions already. But you just help them with how to implement it, how to modernize it, how to use maybe modern systems to do it. But it has to be appropriate in the sense that it has to be sustainable. They come and do so many projects. As soon as they leave it falls down. Why? Because the solutions have not been done together with the people. So I mean, one time I was the ambassador for water, and they made it very clear that every solution that they've brought, because they think they're coming to teach and open the eyes of the ordinary people, and when they bring from outside what is working there, and they bring it here, and as very soon everything falls apart. And then they learn that they have to work with the people and understand the people, how their lives are, what their philosophy is, and then they can design solutions based on that together with the people.
Okay, very good. Look, we're running out of time now. We've almost been on air for 50 minutes. I'm afraid Rexford wasn't able to come back into the studio, but I'd really like to thank you, Ben Braakon, also Rexford Dodo and Francisca Kakraforsen, for the insights that you have shed into this. By all means, share the YouTube video that will come out of this, and thank you very, very much. And for all the comments as well, I find it very difficult to relate to the comments and respond to the comments while we're live on air. But Ben Braakon, all the way from Ohio, as ever, thank you very much for your input and your insights. We'll say good night. Do you want to say good night to everybody, Ben? Thank you very much.
Good night. Thanks for having me today.
No, it's a pleasure. Always a pleasure, and we must come again. Okay. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.